dum, 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 live, dum, dum, live, dum, dum, live, dum, dum, live.
Do you, Chris? Can I be honest with you? I'm not gonna be honest with you. Can I ask your opinion? Where do you think podcasting is in a bit of a weird place at the moment?
Say again. You froze.
Do you feel that podcasting is in a weird place at the moment?
Yeah. No weirder than normal. Why? What do you mean?
It just feels like a couple of years ago, like there was a spike in popularity with podcasts, mostly down to Serial and podcasts like that. But it just feels like over the past year or few years or so, like the whole podcasting world and the people's knowledge of podcasts just doesn't seem to be as strong as it used to be. It seems to have stagnated a little bit, you know? I don't know.
I can't work out whether you're going in for a punchline or not.
No, there's no punchline. I'm being serious.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I would tend to disagree. I think podcasting's in a good place. I think there's lots of good shows out there.
One of my favorite shows is it's a weekly show, been going for about 3 or 4 years, and there's a couple of young whippersnappers with great hair talking all the latest in handheld gaming, and I think it's a joy to listen to them. The passion just like seeps through the audio, your headphones, because it's just so darn compelling. And that podcast is Heroes of Handheld. Welcome back to episode episode 236 of Heroes of Handheld. This is the podcast dedicated to handheld gaming. We've been with you for how many years is it now? Is it 4? 3 years? 4 years?
5.
No way, is it 5 years?
Yeah, it's 5 because it's 5 years.
That is shit hot.
I know.
We must be one of the most consistent podcasting duos in the business. No one's gone as long as us. We're the longest, I think.
We are the longest running podcast. I think you've crushed it. I think that's definitely true.
Do you reckon the podcast Portable is still going without? I can't remember the guy's name. Was it Portable that we were going for initially with our podcast? It was.
I don't think they're still going.
No, I don't think they're even going when we first approached them with our friendly tone.
But you're still bitter about it, aren't you? I know you're bitter. I know how bitter you are.
What a knob. Anyway, Heroes of Handheld. We talk about handheld gaming, all the latest news from the past 7 days in the world of handheld gaming. So that includes mobile, mostly Nintendo Switch, because we love Switch, and very rarely now the PlayStation Vita, which used to be one of the forefront consoles and devices of this podcast, but unfortunately has seeped under the radar because from next year it'll be dead, officially dead anyway. Though we predicted the death of the PlayStation Vita over a year ago, or it might have been 2 years ago now, we did the special PlayStation Vita funeral podcast and we caused a stir, and it probably was like our most popular episode, but everyone was like giving us dogs abuse on Twitter.
I do feel like that was our most Piers Morgan-like episode, where we were saying things that we didn't necessarily 100% agree with because we knew that they'd get the rage clicks.
And it worked. It worked. And we even had someone say that we were being blasphemous against Jesus Christ because we mentioned Jesus. I don't know. We did something like that. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get into it. I'm Colin. I'm one of your hosts. And over there in London town, it's Chrissy P with the upwards camera and the mic just above his forehead.
Me.
It's me, Natalia. What's the latest? What's new with you?
Colin, what's new with me?
Have you finally played the game that little indie game that no one's talking about?
Are you talking, Colin, about the mobile title Card Crawl? Because I have been playing that.
Great. That was my second question, but I want to know. Can you tell me? I want to know about the Red Dead Redemption 2. I've seen your tweet. You tweeted out a clip from the game where you get completely dick slapped by a stag, a reindeer, whatever it is. Some funny shit right there. But tell me, what you're thinking. What is your thoughts on Red Dead Redemption?
We'll embed that tweet in Heroes Fanheld and we'll retweet it and stuff. I am thinking, Colin. Yes. I think it is a very good and engaging video game. However, I think it is quite frustrating and very slow. And it's weird to play because I've never played a game that's this like drawn out and like makes you be this patient, because it doesn't like you doing anything quickly. Like classic example. You find a bear in the woods. You shoot the bear with your rifle. You go and skin the bear, and you're skinning it for about 20 seconds, and there's no option to skip the animation. And then you reload your rifle, and that takes about 15 seconds, because
50.
why would it be quick?
That's like 20 minutes in game time. That's frustrating.
It's I would say it's very hyper realistic, which is fine. Like, it's really good and interesting, but it's just very much like, if you want a kind of like GTA type experience of like get in, get out, smash load of things, woo, here come the cops, woo, shoot down some hookers. You will not get that. You will not get that in Red Dead. It's very patient and very like laborious, but it's really good. Like, the story's really cool, and like it's amazing to explore the world. It's just, I mean, this isn't a particularly original take. I realize this is what everyone's saying, but it just about works for me at the moment. But I think when a game comes out that's more like satisfying to play, I don't know if I'll stick with Red Dead. I think I'll probably leave it and then kind of come back to it in like a couple of months' time.
Do you think it is an upgrade from the original, the first Red Dead Redemption? Is it similar in gameplay mechanics, or is it more drawn out than that? I'm assuming it's a much bigger world.
It's a lot bigger. I think the first Red Dead felt more. I think the first Red Dead felt more satisfying because there was more going on, but it was also a much more intense game. This is more like slow burny. So I think it feels significantly different. It doesn't just feel like a generic sequel, which I suppose is probably what they were going for.
Have you how far in? How many hours have you put in, or how much time have you put in?
I think about 25% in terms of the percentage complete.
That is crazy. That's quite a high percentage considering how big that game is. That's impressive numbers.
Is it? Yeah, I suppose it is. I have been playing it an awful lot, though.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, I'm a bit disappointed by your thoughts there. I was expecting you to say you loved it and it's one of your favorite games.
No, like, I do really enjoy it. It's just it's so different, mate. You like, I honestly, I think you'll pick it up, and I don't know if you'll get on with it, because I know you like the satisfying kind of feedback loop, and I don't know if the game will stimulate you enough.
Yeah, I mean, it's for a game like that, an RPG, which is a massive open world. There's only a few that I've really got on with, and I find I am quite an impatient gamer, as you know. So, yeah, that does make me a bit worried. Obviously, the Mass Effect trilogy was a huge thing for me. Skyrim I liked, but obviously didn't play it for that long. Oblivion I got bored of about 20 hours in, and Red Dead Redemption 1 I've played about an hour of so far, and it's good. It's good. It hasn't.
Can you believe it's speaking of Mass Effect? Can you believe it's N7 Day?
I know, it's crazy.
Mad, isn't it?
When are we getting Mass Effect 4? Oh wait, yeah. Andromeda. I've still not finished Andromeda. I've still got it in my arsenal of games, and I've not gone back to it since I played a couple of hours of it.
And why?
Well, the thing with 1, 2, and 3 is that what got me was the story, and I was interested in exploring all these new worlds, and it got going pretty quickly, and it was an engaging story. The opening few the opening few missions of Andromeda are very much a slog. And from the reviews I've read, it doesn't get much better. There's a lot of open space and escorting missions, and hey, I've lost my briefcase. Go get my briefcase for me. And you have to cross an hour of desert to get it and come back for a reward. Yeah. So I don't know. It just didn't suck me in as much as the other Mass Effects, which is a big surprise because I love the whole world, the space setting. And you think, Mass Effect is normally an automatic winner for me. But yeah, I mean, with Mass Effect 3, I was so into it. I even bought that mobile game to get my what was it called? My troops ready in Mass Effect 3, my military rating. And I even bought the bloody comic series spin-off from it to get more. That's how much I love. And I don't buy anything. So that shows how much Mass Effect 3 affected me. But Andromeda, it's like Red Dead Redemption. I bought that about 5 years ago, secondhand, or 4, whatever, a few years ago, and I played it a bit, then left it and forgot about it. But now I'm back into it again, the first one. So eventually I will go back to Andromeda. I don't know when though, but I want to complete it one day. But yeah, sad. So that's interesting. So hopefully you'll spend a bit more time with Red Dead Redemption 2, and you'll get more interested in it. Have you drawn any penises in the snow yet?
I've not. I've only really started going back because you start spoilers, I guess, but you start off in the snow, and then when you've done all the tutorial stuff, you go down the mountain, but then you can go back to the snow. And I'm now going back to the snow, which is where my GIF was with the video was with the thing. But I will draw a penis for my homie Colin.
Thank you.
I know how much you like that stuff.
I do like penises. Thank you very much. Can we quickly mention Pokemon Go? I know there's no link at all, but I see what you put in the notes for what you want to talk about in this episode. I wanted to put the same note in. I am absolutely loving Adventure Sync. It is amazing. Raking in those candies like no tomorrow. My body's loving it, and it's just a good time for all.
This, for me, is what I feel the game should have had. Or like, this is very much one of those features that it's like, I wish this was there from launch. Because for those of you who don't know, Adventure Sync is a new feature to Pokemon Go. It started off with the higher levels, and now it's rolled out to everyone, I think level 5 and above, where basically you allow Pokemon Go to access your health and fitness data on your phone. And then when the app isn't running, you don't have to have the screen on, you don't have to have it running in the background. Your health and fitness app, which pretty much every smartphone now has, will track your steps, and then those steps get translated into Pokemon Go data. And so suddenly eggs are hatching a lot faster because you don't need to have the game open to be acquiring steps for it. Oh my god, it's so good. It's like, it's really making the difference, because you go from, you know, having to run the game open all the time and using all your battery and all this stuff to like, you don't need to have it on, and the game still knows, oh, you've done lots of walking, of course we'll give you a load of candy or whatever.
You basically get a candy every time you open up Pokemon Go if you're walking a buddy. It's so good. So good.
And the thing is as well, like, because the phone is a, you know, it's phones have got pedometer and location tracking. It's like, it's, if you've got all the kind of things turned on, it's really accurate. Like, it's not like, you know, Pokemon Go, sometimes you'll play it and it will not be very good at recognizing how far you've gone or whatever. If you just leave it to the phone to do it, it's like, oh, it's like really on it. So yeah, Adventure Sync is a real plus. I'm really burning through the eggs now, because I'll put a load to incubate in the morning, turn it off, and then even if you're not necessarily like doing a lot of walking from point to point, if you just, you know, have your phone on you during the day, or for me, have my watch on, it just picks up the steps, and it knows how much exercise you're doing. And oh man, it's such a good addition. I think it's a really, really good move for them.
I feel like people have been calling for this for a long time, because that was an issue back in the early days of Pokemon Go, where, you know, battery life would deplete quickly, your phone would get really hot if you left it on. So it's a shame it's taken this long, but yeah, it's a great addition, and it is really good. And I agree, like, burning through eggs like no tomorrow is absolutely amazing. Like,
and what I think is really good as well is that you don't even need to have the app running in the background. No. Like, you don't have to go into a special mode or anything. You just need to like check in on it every now and then, and it will register. And it's so good.
I mean, the only negative I found, this might just be my phone, but I found it has crashed a lot more since Adventure Sync became a thing, where I'd open up the app, open up the game, and an egg will do the hatch animation. Or as it's loading, you know, when the game loads, the little Pokemon ball symbol spinning around, and then I guess that's where it's syncing your tracking your movement from the health app. A few times it has crashed on me since that happened, so hopefully that's something that can easily be fixed. But in the most part, it's stable, it's good, and yeah, this is a positive thing. And Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu are out very soon. They're out next month.
Next week.
Next week, yeah, that's what I meant. Next week, so that's all very exciting. But another game that is out next week, and I wanted to mention this, the 13th of November, this is out very soon. It's Spyro, the Reignited Trilogy. Now, why am I talking about this? Because this isn't mobile. It's coming out on Xbox One and PlayStation 4. Annoyingly, I want it on Nintendo Switch, and I think it will one day come.
Yeah, there's been a couple of screen grabs from like distributors and stuff that suggest that it is going to come to Switch, just not yet.
It makes sense because the Insane trilogy, the Crash Bandicoot one, did. Maybe it's like a sort of timed exclusive on consoles. I don't know how it all works, but I'm gonna hold off getting it on Xbox. I want to get it, and I think as soon as it comes out on Switch, I will probably get it. To be honest, so as soon as I have, hopefully, I doubt it'll be before Christmas now. But hopefully it is. Anyway, the reason I talk about this, I guess in a sort of celebration of the launch of it, a drone has been created, a special Spyro the Dragon drone, which is going on tour around America. Now, this is actually fantastic. There's a video on the article in the doc, Chris, if you want to have a look at this. And what's even funny about this is Snoop Dogg, off of featuring in all the songs, and obviously off of being a big gamer, he's an Xbox fan, I believe. He tweeted Spyro the Dragon's official Twitter page because they put a tweet out saying, "I'm back." And he responded to Spyro the Dragon saying, "Yo, my little nephew, looking straight, bring me that new Spyro Reignited trilogy." So now apparently this drone, which is a Spyro the Dragon drone, is going to bring the Reignited trilogy directly to Snoop Dogg. So
this is mad. This is absolutely mad. Do you think that this was like? Do you think they paid Snoop Dogg in advance, or do you think they've just spanned this into a thing?
I'd like to think they didn't, but he is a very big gamer. But it just doesn't seem to have a match because of all the games that you'd expect Snoop Dogg to be playing. Is the Spyro the Dragon remaster one of those games? Was he of the age when it was all the rage back in the 90s? I don't know. I would have said he was a bit too old for it then, but then I don't know. I'm going to stick with the fact that no, it's not a paid thing, and he loves Spyro the Dragon, he loves gaming, and he just wants that bloody drone to deliver the game to him. And it's interesting, there's a map here as well. Like they're saying that the drone is going to fly from New York City, which is on one side of America, across to where Snoop Dogg is, which is in LA. So that is a long way. That's the whole country it's going across. And this drone is absolutely incredible. I would love a Spyro the Dragon.
It looks really cool, doesn't it? Like I'm just looking at the pictures that you shared, and like I'm surprised how good it looks. But it's such a good idea. Like, and imagine seeing it in real life as well.
Yeah, that would be cool. So there you go. So a bit more hype around Spyro's the Reignited trilogy, and Snoop Dogg's on board. Which I like how he spelled nephew as well. Nephew.
That's one of his things, though, isn't it?
That's great.
Yeah. I think it's really cool. Colin.
Yeah.
Well, we've kind of skipped the Pokemon Go thing, but I wanted to point out, just whilst we're talking about mobile and on the move, that this Saturday on Pokemon Go, we should have done this earlier, but is the Cyndaquil Community Day. Double Candy, sorry, not Double Candy, Double Catch XP and Double Catch Stardust as well. So if you put on a star piece and a lucky egg, you're going to be really raking in the bonuses from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. GMT.
Nice.
And Cyndaquil's a little cutie as well. We like Cyndaquil.
He's cute. It's a shame the ones he evolves into are a bit uglier. But no, that's cool. More reason to open up Pokemon Go and play this weekend. Hopefully it's not raining, because it's apparently supposed to rain for the next 7 days. Like, who'd have thought in November it'd be raining in the UK? But surprisingly, it actually hasn't been raining much recently. So a bit of a shock.
I love all the you can go on the Pokemon Go website as well and see all like the pictures they put up of different community day things, and it's really cool. Like seeing people out and about, and then seeing like all the Beldum from last time in like these different poses and stuff. It's really cool.
The biggest one I remember from the community days, I think it was June or July, when it was the Charmander one. That was massive. Like in my hometown, I saw so many groups of people out playing Pokemon Go. I saw parents with their kids on Pokemon Go. It was really great to see. It was nice weather as well, which obviously helped.
Yeah, it was Royal Wedding Day, wasn't it?
Yes, I think you're right. I think it was. Good, good knowledge.
Okay, sorry, Colin.
Yes.
We've got loads of news. I want to save Diablo for the main core of the show.
I think that should be a big finish. Yeah.
Let's talk about PlayStation Plus.
Okay. Do you want me to take this one? Because it's going to be very brief.
Okay. You take this one, and I'm in a minute. Stay tuned. Little forward plug. Because in 30 seconds' time, I'm going to be talking about Smash Bros.
Oh, shit. Amazing. Well, I just want to mention that the PlayStation Plus games for November 2018 have been announced by PlayStation, and the games that we care about are the PlayStation Vita ones. So the free games you get if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber is Burly Men at Sea and Roundabout. Now, both of those sound like experiences I had when I was a young teenager, but there you go. That makes no sense. That doesn't make any sense. I don't know either of those games. I've never even heard of Burly Men at Sea. I need to have a see what this is. Let's have Chris. What sort of game do you think Burly Men at Sea is?
I believe is it like an indie puzzle game? I'm quite keen to try it, to be honest with you, mate.
Oh, there we go. It's it doesn't say what the genre is. It's got some good reviews. Came out 2016. It's from a developer called Brain and Brain, and it's very cool animation style. A folk tale adventure. So there you go. There you go. It's interesting. I've not heard of this game. So it's free if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. So check that out. That's all I've got for you on that. What's going on in Smash Bros?
So last Thursday, the Smash Bros Direct happened during the day. You remember we talked about it on this here pod. And the first thing they did pretty much was come out and show off some character reveals, which disproved the Grinch leak, or not leak, fake, I suppose. Because we saw Ken from Street Fighter and Incineroar from Pokemon, which meant that the Grinch is dead. R.I.P. Stink Stank Stunk. It was an interesting direct. We saw a lot of talk about the DLC plan, so they're going to be offering a kind of $6 package, which gives you a fighter, a level, and some music, or you can get the fighter pass for $25, which will get you 5 of them, so it's a little bit cheaper. They also announced another character as an early purchase bonus, which is for if you buy or register the game before January 31st, 2019, is PT Piranha Plant, new amiibo for characters already confirmed, Isabelle, Pichu, Ken, Young Link, all this kind of stuff. But the big discussion was around the new adventure mode called World of Light, which had this full-on anime rendered video that you can watch the trailer for. And it looks really weird. So basically, if you've not seen the trailer, all the characters are on a big cliff. They're like getting ready to fight these weird fist things that are coming out of the sky. Then basically, every single fighter is killed apart from Kirby. And Kirby is going to be the lead character in this new mode. So whether it's going to be like Subspace Emissary with fully rendered cutscenes, or whether it's just like event mode, we will see. They also talked about Spirits mode, which is a kind of RPG style stickers system, similar to the previous game, sticker game. And yeah, other bits and bobs. There's a Nintendo press release, which we will embed on our website, so you can read all the final points if you want. Did you watch it live, Colin, or were you not first?
I did not. I watched clips of it, but I didn't need to because I knew my good pal Chris would dissect it all and give me all the information I needed.
Yeah, it was a I was a little disappointed by it. Not because, I mean, obviously the Grinch thing was really cool, and I think it was a shame it wasn't real, but whatever. But I think that those two fighters were a disappointing way to end the reveals and releases. I wish it had been like a King K. Rool or Ridley, or I just feel like they were a little bit generic. But you know, it was an interesting direct. They and they've said since that their DLC plans are now locked in, so they know who they want to do. So it's like, let's go. You know, DLC coming next year. Very keen. So yeah, an interesting direct. It was sad, but once you got over the initial Grinch stink stank stunk shock, it was good.
Good. And
you're
more hyped about Smash Bros now, are you?
I'm about the same level of hyped.
Same level of hype. That's good. That's good. How many days now?
A month to the day.
Wow. There we go. So most people will be counting down to Christmas, but you're counting down to Smash Bros.
I want to give you 2 little bits of news, and then we're going to talk about Diablo, because that's like the topic of the show, you know.
Keen.
The first bit of news is that, and we kind of thought this might be the case, Pokemon Let's Go Eevee and Pikachu, which releases next Friday, it has been revealed via Twitter that the game will not support the Pro Controller. We sort of thought this might be the case anyway because of the kind of physical action of catching that the game looks keen to support. But for any of you who are big Pro Controller fans, myself included, that is a bit of a letdown. And Colin, this is big. What are you doing February 28th, 2019?
Oh, I don't know. Looking forward to the year. I don't know. Tell me.
Well, Colin, save the date because Japan will see the release of My Girlfriend is a Mermaid, a visual novel published by Kozen.
I appreciated how you ended that to make it sound like a question because there's a question mark at the end. I do appreciate
Mermaid. This looks like if this was coming to Vita, it would get our JRPG thumbs up of the week. That's the type of game. Although it's actually more of a visual romance story. We'll embed a tweet so you can look at some game art if you're so inclined.
Big fins and big boobs. There you go. That sums up.
She's a mermaid, Colin.
Well, you missed out because you said it was just you made it out as if it was just a question, but the actual title has an exclamation mark and a question mark. So how would you say that?
My girlfriend is a mermaid.
Amazing. This is literally the sort of, well, I'm not going to say crap because it might be really good. This is the sort of news that you got from the PlayStation Vita back in its heyday every single week, these sort of games.
Yeah, watch this space. I don't know if it'll come west or not, but I mean, maybe, hopefully.
West. Who knows? Watch this space. Should we get on to the big news from this past week?
Yes.
So, dear listeners, and Christopher, I know you've been keeping track of this. I'm sure, unless you've been away from social media and you've just been living under a rock, you've heard about the Diablo Immortal fiasco, which came out of BlizzCon earlier this week. So, BlizzCon is is a conference where people who are fans of Blizzard games go. So, Blizzard, obviously, World of Warcraft, Hearthstone, Diablo. Is it Hearthstone or Hearthstone? Hearthstone.
Yeah, Hearth. Yeah.
So Blizzard known for making really great games, really good with their community, really understanding their fan base. So it's kind of a bit of a shock that this whole fiasco has come from them. Like this is the sort of thing that you'd expect from EA or something like that. This is Blizzard have really properly misunderstood their fan base here. So what they did. As a keynote, they're going through all the big announcements, what's coming up from Blizzard, games that are being announced, games that are being released. So Diablo is a huge, huge franchise for Blizzard. Recently, the third one came out on Switch, which I think you've played, Chris. Have you got down with Diablo? I think you mentioned that
not yet. I will. I am keen, but I'm going to wait for Black Friday.
So we're up to Diablo 3, and it's been 6 years since Diablo 3 was released, if you can believe that. Initially, it had some issues when it was first released, but it ended up being one of Blizzard's most successful games and got a huge following, etc., etc. So fans are watching this keynote and they're wanting to have some news on the fourth one, like a teaser, some even a little snippet of information and as to when the fourth one would be released. So there's all this build up and we get to the end of the keynote and what do they announce? They announce a game called Diablo Immortal, which, my friends, is going to be a mobile game. And to say that announcement, the announcement didn't go down well is a bit of an understatement. When it was announced, there was a sort of a shocked silence in the room. In the end, it turned out that there was some booing. And it's funny now, looking back at this, Blizzard has said they were absolutely shocked by the reaction they got from this announcement of this mobile game. But it's before we get into the nooks and crannies of it, I just want to say it shows that Blizzard are normally really good. They know their fan base, but most of the people in that audience were PC gamers, people who play the games on PC. So why they thought they would get a good reaction about a mobile game of Diablo from a PC gamer crowd is beyond me. And it's what's even worse and what made it even funnier is a video that was doing the rounds where there's an opportunity for people in the crowd to ask questions of the developers about the games and stuff. There's a lot of questions about Diablo Immortal, this mobile title, and someone stood up and asked whether this game would eventually come to PC or it was just going to be a mobile game. And it sort of threw the guy on stage a little bit. He said, oh no, there's no plans for PC, it's just going to be iOS and Android. And when he announced that, there was a wave of booing came from the crowd. And that's bad enough. But then, to make matters even worse, So one of the developers on stage sort of took the mic out of the person who was who was supposed to be answering the question and said, "Do you guys even have phones?
You love that, don't you?
Do you guys even have phones?" Which is, oh god, it's cringy as anything. So, Chris,
yeah.
Now the dust has settled a little bit on this. We still don't really know much about Diablo Immortal in terms of how it'll play, and the information they gave was very limited. Apparently, some people at the actual BlizzCon event were able to get down and dirty with it and gave it a little bit of a go. Some people are worried because it's not just Blizzard who are developing this game. There is another developer who is working on this. I'm just going to find the name of them. Mobile studio NetEase is also developing this. And some people are saying that this version of Diablo looks like a reskin of one of NetEase's other games, which is called Endless of God. Apparently it plays the same, looks the same. It just looks like a reskin. And it's just and Endless of God is another hack and slash game which is similar to Diablo. Apparently, when it first came out, Endless of God, it was called a Diablo knockoff anyway. So, yeah. What are we thinking, Chris? What are the opinions on a mobile? Before we get into the actual inner workings of Blizzard, what are your thoughts on an actual Diablo mobile game?
So, yeah, just before we talk about the conference and the reaction and the backlash and the fans, the thing is, I do think I would be quite keen to play a Diablo mobile game for the same reason that I'm quite keen to play the Switch one, because I like the idea of being able to play it anywhere. I like the idea of being able to pick up and play and kind of do it like a dungeon run and then turn off and get on with your day. I think phones are developed enough now that, you know, like a top down, like I played a game when I first got my first iPhone that was very similar to Diablo. That was like, you know, choose your class, top down, kill enemies, tap on chests to open them, that sort of thing. Kind of like a Gauntlet Diablo knockoff. So like, I think I would be up for playing a game in this series if it's, you know, if it's good. Like I'll definitely give like Diablo Immortal a try if it's cheap or if it's free, or even if it's paid, you know, for the right amount. The thing that stands out to me is I think the announcement was very poorly done by Blizzard. I think they really should have seen. I don't know how they didn't see this coming. Because, you know, BlizzCon is full of incredibly like hardcore Diablo Blizzard, like you say, PC players, and I can understand like. It must be so frustrating for the developers because, you know, they've been working on this title for however long and they're thinking like, oh, finally we can give Diablo players something to do on the go. And then like, because of Blizzard's poor management, they basically be strung out to dry. And I thought that for me, I thought the way that the fans reacted, I think they pay a lot of money for a ticket. I think the booing, I think is kind of acceptable, but I think the way that the fans were in that Q&A was terrible. Like I felt really gross watching those clips because like the developers, they're proud of this thing they've made and they want it to be a success and they want people to like it and enjoy it and play it, and instead they're getting like snarky, arseholey like audience members like, man, why don't it be on P? Like, is it an April Fool's joke? Man. It's like, oh, fuck off. Like, the game can, not every game is for every person. And going on the Diablo subreddit now, like, the thing is, Diablo is not a franchise I care about. So, you know, maybe I would be different if it was something that I was really, really into. But I'm just surprised at how little people are seeing this idea of like, not all games are for you. And I think like there is a problem with people coming off as really kind of entitled, and but on the flip side, you know, you spend a lot of money to go to a Diablo conference, you want to see exciting new releases and announcement, and their big headline reveal, the Glastonbury headliner, is a mobile game. I can understand. Like, I think if that was me and it was like, I don't know, Smash Bros or whatever, like I would be disappointed. I can understand disappointment. I just can't understand. I think people let their disappointment justify rudeness towards people who are working hard on a product that's not for them. And for me personally, I find that really sad to watch. And like the thing is, you could see how frustrated the developers were as well, because that comment about don't you have mobile phones?
Yeah,
I mean, he's right. Everyone's got a mobile phone. Like,
no, which the worst thing they could have said though. Really, that's just like fire a bit more.
I mean, why did they? What I think was really poor from Blizzard is like, we've seen big franchises do mobile announcements properly, like Fallout 76 or like Elder Scrolls Blades. Like Bethesda clearly get it. We've seen, Nintendo do similar things, and it's like, why did they think that it would go down well as the headline announcement? How could they not gauge the mood of the audience?
It definitely wasn't the right place to announce it or the right time.
100%.
Massive oversight.
Even if it was at the start of the show. And like, do you remember watching? I mean, sorry, I'm ranting. You'll get your say.
I like it.
But, like, do you remember watching the EA E3 conference, and when they announced Command and Conquer for mobile, that was like car crash viewing. That was so like, it took all the momentum out of their conference. People didn't like it. Like, it was such a waste of time. And yeah, I don't know how do you, looking back on it now the dust has settled, how you're viewing it?
Well, for me, it's almost as if like the decision to announce it came from the very top. So the suits who work in a boardroom and don't really understand like how the gamers and what they want and things like that. It's just, as I said when I was initially explaining it, how Blizzard in the past have normally been very good with their community. They understand their fans. They're normally very good in that respect. To get it so wrong, it's just so strange. And the whole reaction from the development team on stage, they even said how shocked they were, the negative response to it. It's so confusing. None of it really makes sense. But I mean, forgetting all that side of it, I'd be interested to try it as well. I think it might be quite fun. So there you go. But I'm not, unlike you, I'm not a Diablo player as well. So maybe, I don't know, this could have been, maybe rather than push it at BlizzCon, which is for all the fanatical Blizzard fans, they could have looked to maybe doing it to attract the sort of fan base, the sort of gamer who aren't really into Diablo at the moment. So there could have been better places to announce it, just a social media post or releasing a press release or something, rather than making it the major part of BlizzCon. But it does also make you think maybe they've got no news to give on Diablo 4, so they need something to put there.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some stuff that I don't know if you've seen, but Kotaku have been published a thing originally that was like there was a Diablo 4 tease that got pulled, and then it's kind of gone back and forth as to how true that is or how true the sources are. But yeah, I just feel like it's a really ignorant way to announce it, and I think, like I say, I don't agree with how the fan base have been reacting and how like horrendous people have been behaving, but I do think that Blizzard, it was just like really dumb to announce it there and then.
Yeah, I think some of the worries that people have is when you think of mobile gaming, you automatically get negative connotations about the whole freemium model, where the game will be free and then you have to buy loot crates and you can pay to win and things like that. I think looking at the concerns, that is the main concerns from people who are fans of Diablo itself. But I mean, the information regarding the game is very limited so far. As I said, we just had that very brief version that people on the show floor could actually play, but that's not really filled people with much confidence either. But I mean, they've recently announced today, actually, earlier on this evening, I believe, Blizzard have actually said that they're working on mobile games across all their titles. So this isn't the last we're going to see of this. It seems like maybe the natural next step for Blizzard itself. But yeah, I mean, there's issues on both sides of this. Personally, for me, and you said it as well, as a non-Diablo playing gamer, I mean, I'm not really much into Blizzard's games. I played Hearthstone for a bit and I sort of enjoy that game, and that was fun on my iPad. So I mean, this could be something to get me into the Diablo franchise if it's well priced and if it's fun and it's something you just pick up.
You were about to say free there, weren't you?
Yeah. Well, I was going to say free,
hard,
but I don't. But then, if it's not free, I probably won't try it. But if it's free, I know it will be one of those games that's either full of ads or you have to pay to get through anything, to actually do well in it.
Several coins.
Yeah, I mean, a bit of a shitstorm there, but I think it has settled a little bit. So now we wait for more information on the actual game itself before we fully judge it. So there you go. That's that was the fiasco there.
Speaking of mobile games, I want to recommend, I briefly mentioned it earlier, I want to recommend everyone tries out a game called Card Crawl. And this is from the same people that made Card Thief, which is a game I've played a lot. Well, I got it when it was free on the weekend, but I think there's an in-app purchase of £5 because I was with a friend downloading on Android. It's a deck high score game. You get dealt monster cards and dungeon cards, and you have to distribute them accordingly. You get like swords and shields, and it's very simple but very charming, and also has this really interesting kind of high score mechanic where you can play against people with like a daily deck to see who does the best on a particular thing. So yeah, there's not too much to say about it. It's called Card Crawl. I'd really recommend checking it out. I'll put a link on the Heroes of Handheld website. Colin.
Hi.
I've got one last thing to talk about, and this is like a throw forward to next week because I want people to have a little think about this at home and tweet us at Handheld Podcast.
Okay.
There are now, if you go to Nintendo's Japanese website, this is coming via Reset Era, there are 2 job postings for a Zelda game. They've not said what Zelda game is going to be, but there are 2 postings. One is for 3D CG designer for terrain topography production for things like fields and dungeons. You have to be able to make backgrounds in Maya and Photoshop and fluent in Japanese. And the second is for level designer looking for someone to plan game events, dungeons, fields, and enemies. Do you want to talk about this now, or do you want to have a little think about it? Do you reckon this is for like... Do you think this is for more DLC for Breath of the Wild? Do you think it's for Breath of the Wild 2? Do you think it's for a new 3DS title? Maybe a mobile game? It could be anything.
Let's have a think and talk about it next week, because then we can get the listener feedback as well. Full synergy.
So how do listeners get in touch if they are so inclined?
Oh boy, there's so many ways. Can I quickly mention something before we wrap up?
Oh yeah, of course.
I've been playing a game this week, the Stranger Things game.
Ooh, how is it?
Which I wasn't aware of. I don't know how new this is. It just sort of cropped up when I was looking on the App Store for a new game to play. It's really good, actually. It's free, completely free. It's like a dungeon crawler sort of game, pixelated thing, but that style of game works for Stranger Things because of the setting of the TV show anyway. So for those of you who don't know, this is based off the Netflix series Stranger Things. You play as Hopper, who is the main guy, who is basically a badass in the whole show. He's like everyone's favorite character. He's the police guy. And you're exploring the research facility trying to find the 4 kids who are the main cast from the game. So it's not really linked to the show at all. Well, it is, obviously, because it's Stranger Things, but the storyline is separate. I've only played a little bit of it. It's really fun so far, actually. It's a lot of just going around, like clicking the screen to direct them where to go, like tapping on enemies to punch them, trying to turn switches off to get through obstacles and things like that. But it's actually really cool. It looks really nice. It plays really well, and it's completely free. As far as I can see.
Do you need to have watched the show to understand
Oh,
it?
no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, obviously, there'd be a beneficial thing to doing that because you're more familiar with the characters. But yeah, it's just a fun game. And it's people who like that style of game, definitely something worth checking out. I mean, the main thing is that it's free, absolutely free. And it is really well made as well. So a good companion to the TV show. If you haven't watched Stranger Things, you really should because it's such a great show. Really good. Looking forward to the 3rd series of that. Oh boy. Right, so how can people get in contact? There's so many ways. They can email us, heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. You can go to our website, heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com, and go to the Contact Us section and fill out the form. You can tweet us at Handheld Podcast. We tweet throughout the week. You can find us on anything online. If you search Heroes of Handheld, we're probably going to be there. Any social media channel. We upload episodes every week. You can subscribe to us on iTunes or Podomatic. Was that one? What was the other one? Stitcher. That was the other one. Not Podomatic. God, Podomatic was the original.
Stitcher. Oh my God. Well, we should be on every podcast feed, but if we're not, message us and we'll get ourselves on there.
We'll get our top men on it. We'd love to know your thoughts on the whole Diablo Immortals fiasco from the past week. So let us know your thoughts on that. heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. And just a quick shout out to the Schnauzer Radio Orchestra who did the theme song for this podcast. It's been our theme song since the very beginning. Great song, great artist. Definitely worth checking out. Just search the Schnauzer Radio Orchestra on iTunes and you'll find all the other work from them. I think that's it.
And we would love to know what you think the new Zelda game is as well. Colin?
Yes.
See you in a week.
I'll see you when it's halfway through November, and we're probably going to be much nearer to Black Friday then.
Yeah.
Black Friday, that's coming up soon. 23rd of November. That's what's it now. It's the 7th, so that is about 2 weeks away.
Exciting.
2 weeks on Friday. Cool. Very
cool.
Exciting. All the deals.
Let's
go.
Bye,
Chris.
I'll hit the sub button. Have a good weekend, man. Bye.